Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to another storyline update video. I am, as always, the colonist, here for you to tell you everything you need to know about the show coming up. First of all, thanks grappling. Thank you all so much for making Thanks Grappling what it was. It was a tremendous night for the most part, with a small exception. But we're going to talk about that in just a second. Now, if you excuse me real quick, I'm just going to adjust this again because I didn't clean the smudges off my camera when I started. But that's okay. I've been kind of rushing lately. I've been making a lot of phone calls. I was in the hospital, not me personally, but visiting A Bizzle after the assault that he faced. And I would like to let all of you know that he has some words from his hospital bed that he is going to be sharing with all of you here on this channel come tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. It's just a small minute and a half, but he has something to say about what happened with Incredizone attacking him in the back when TAW made their invasion. More on that in a second. We're going to start by talking about what's next, because what's next is going to be something pretty huge. Now, we missed the WrestleBration this year because of the whole PS2 calamity, but I would be remiss if I didn't provide a big-time show, a true big-time show before the year's out. And I was calling the January matches that were leading up to the WrestleBration revelation, but this time the revelation has been the true emergence of CIW as the dominant E-Fed on the internet as a whole. It's a 3-day event. It is a huge 3-day event, December 16th, 17th, and 18th. And what I'm going to do now is break down this card for you like I was going to back at the Thanks Grappling event, which was rudely interrupted by a promo, which I will soon address, and a matchup, which put half of the people who were watching to sleep, and I had to rally them back with a heavyweight title match. More on that in a second. We will start with the perpetrators, Incredizone, because now TAW has two superstars who have taken CIW belts, and naturally, Michael Corleone couldn't have that. I couldn't have that. So we have recalled that there are number one contenders already for that CIW Tag Team Championship because of Thanks Grappling last year. And Thanks Grappling last year saw the emergence of the new number one contenders, the Heroes of Fortune. So at Revelation, Corleone is going to be giving a ladder match stipulation. You are going to see Incredizone defend the CIW Tag Team Championships against Symbiote Spider-Man and Aquaman. A tremendous, tremendous matchup. We have seen the Heroes of Fortune run roughshod over TAW in individual careers. Symbiote Spidey, a crowd favorite. Aquaman, one of the best records in CIW. Surely going to be a tremendous matchup in that regard, and that is going to be the main event of day one. But day one's going to be interesting because Corleone is piecing together a let's stick it to TAW show, which we are inviting Josh Ageddon to be on with me to commentate. And on that show is going to be the existential crisis match. What started all of this in the first place when CIW decided to hack TAW and start to prove the point that TAW's success is based on CIW's failures. More on that in a second. We are going to have ourselves Captain Planet, CIW's Captain Planet, against the man who debuted instead of Captain Planet against that match versus Sephiroth, Captain Pollution. Big matchup. Nobody knew they were separate people, including myself. Well, now they're going at it one-on-one, day one revelation. And we have now also found out that Captain Pollution also took the purse that Corleone gave for what Planet would have earned for wrestling that match. So Planet also had lost money because of Pollution. Dastardly behavior. So we are going to hope that CIW's Captain Planet can pull through and grab the win there. We also have another good tag team match between the Greasy Green Gigolos, which is Piccolo and Reptile, and the other Rangers. Of course, Piccolo is now weirdly no longer stoic and uncaring, but he's lightened up a bit, and he's trying to get Reptile, who is also stoic and uncaring, along for the ride. And they are tagging after a match they had way long ago back, I believe it was at Autumn Asylum of 2021. And now they are a team, and we are going to see how they do. Of course, they were unsuccessful in their debut match, but we'll see what they can do here against the other Rangers, the Blue and the Green Ranger. Up next, then we have day 2. Day 2 is going to be pretty amazing because we have had a lot of major things happen with the Shades of Black. That's what everybody's been wanting to hear. What's going on with the Grim Reaper interrupting the match with Satan, interrupting the world title match. Warrior retained, but the Grim Reaper returned. We saw Chrono attack Magus. We saw Freddy Krueger attack Nathan Von Schrader. We saw the Shades of Black basically hand Incredizone the tag team championships to stick it to Dirty Wah. So what does this mean? We have so many people at odds with each other. Who's doing what? Well, Michael Corleone and I sat down and we thought about what was going to be best for CIW. After everything that Satan has done to taint and soil and poison the minds of CIW wrestlers, and has run roughshod tag titles they have basically grabbed onto for over a year and a half. The Siege Championship, Nathan Von Schrader won until Sub-Zero won it back at the beginning of this year. Satan almost won the world title for a second time. It was major. There was nonstop at a point where everyone was getting converted. Nobody was safe. And now there seems to be a resistance. So we decided we're going to take a page, admittedly, out of our 2 superior company books, because our big 3 were Magnation, TAW, and then us. So we're taking a page out of their book. It is a 6-on-6 elimination tag match. Satan, Dr. Dirty, Waluigi, Nathan Von Schrader, and Magus, with a mystery 6th partner, will be taking on what is called the Dark Alliance, as they've called it to me, which is the Grim Reaper, Neo, Riddick, Freddy Krueger, and Chrono, and they have also acquired a mystery 6th partner. Who is going to come out on top of this? And the stakes couldn't be higher, because if Satan's soldiers lose that matchup, Satan will have to release all of them from captivity and will no longer be allowed to keep or abduct the minds of CIW wrestlers. It stops. But if the Dark Alliance ends up being the losers, then every single member of the Dark Alliance will be fired on the spot, never to return to CIW. So it is a major, major matchup. Huge implications involved. Who are the 6 men going to be on either side? We'll find out that day. It is going to be a monstrous event, and it's a match so huge, it is going to be that day. One day, just December 17th. That's the only match on the card for day 2, but that's how big the stakes are. One match, one day, all night. It's going to be a wild time. Now, all of these shows start at 9 p.m. Eastern. I believe that's 6 Pacific. So it's going to be at a nice ripe time for all of you to get some popcorn, grab some water, some Monster, that scoop of ice cream, not Amir's ice cream, but some ice cream, and get the stuff what needs to be done. Then we have day 3. There's a lot happening on day 3. 7 matches on day 3. We have the tag title implosion, the tag match implosion of the Street Fighters, Sagat and Ken Masters. The last time those 2 fought, Sagat got himself intentionally disqualified because he couldn't beat Ken Masters, and Ken Masters didn't sweat him. Well, Sagat didn't take too kindly to that. He's been festering about it ever since. And so these 2 men are going to finally resolve their differences in a street fight. Street fighters in a street fight. And there's more to it than that, because we have heard that Corleone is making a stipulation, because Sagat said that old phrase of one of these, this town ain't big enough for the 2 of us kind of deal. So we have now heard that whoever loses that match will be forced to be on the pre-shows of matches that the winner is on. So let's say one of them wins, the other person cannot be on the main card as that person going forward for the next year, which means let's say in this circumstance, and I'm not saying this is a winner or loser, let's say that Sagat, who requested this, wins. That means Ken Masters will be bound to the pre-show for the entirety of 2023 if Sagat is on the card. So that means that both of these guys are fighting for position. They can't stand each other. Now, street fight has to end it. We have a major matchup. Speaking of team implosions, the sad to see turned stiff, cold, and unpredictable Bruce Lee is facing his former partner in Johnny Cage, and we saw Bruce Lee demolish Piccolo with his game of death gear change and his attitude, his very intense attitude from having lost quite a few matches, including one to Jack Black in the Elimination Chamber qualifier back at Autumn Asylum 21. And it's been a downhill spiral ever since losing the heavyweight title to Wario for Bruce Lee, trying to turn it around here and doing so at the expense of a man who has really just been building and had a CIW championship match with Wario cost at the hands of Bruce Lee. And now these two are coming to blows. Bruce Lee, Johnny Cage, one-on-one, going to be a major matchup. Penguin and Eclipse. We've got these two in. It's going to be a hell of a matchup. These two big hosses. Eclipse has been on a roll in TAW and CIW. We are going to see what he's got against the resident fish smeller and bag sniffer and whatever the hell he does with the rest of that bag. I don't want to know. I don't care to know. It's Eclipse, Penguin, Haas fight, day 3. Of course, we have another tag match opening up. It is Buzzsaw versus Salt and Pepper with James Marks. That's Eminem and Dave Chappelle, for those of you who don't know. So that's going to be another big matchup that we have. Tag matches, always big. We have a interesting battle royal, a 10-man rumble that Corleone has put together on this show. And I don't know the participants. He hasn't told me. And I don't know why Corleone does this, NAB does this, but they don't want me to know who's in this battle royal. I don't get why, but that's their thing. So Corleone has kept me in the dark, but it's 10 men. But apparently it's supposed to be a smorgasbord of people who are interested in CIW or perhaps have a stake to claim in CIW per end. But I don't know the details, but we got a 10-man rumble that's also going to be on day 3. Then we have the Exceeds Championship. Sub-Zero won the belt back from Nathan Von Schrader at the beginning of this year, and in January as well, we also crowned a #1 contender for that Exceeds Championship. And that was Sub-Zero's brother, Noob Saibot, who came back from a scaffold injury where he jumped off and broke his neck, ironically enough. And now these two are at it one final time. We're not having this match again, as ordered by Corleone. Sub-Zero, Noob Saibot, Exceeds Championship, Hell in the Cell. It ends at Revelation. The winner take all brother battle comes to a complete and final end at Revelation. You are not going to want to miss that. That is going to be so intense. And of course, the money match. The match that the entire world has been waiting to see. Kratos cashes in his money in the bank against the CIW heavyweight champion Wario. It is a battle of all battles. Kratos, the unstoppable force, against what many considered at one time to be that same unstoppable force, but now might perhaps be the immovable object. This is going to be a battle of the ages. I cannot wait. That is your main event of day 3 at Revelation. It is going to be a tremendous time. We have a huge set of matches prepared for you for Revelation and hype matches every Sunday leading up to, starting this Sunday. Coming up, we have Sunday night. We have a huge fatal 4-way match. I'm going to just let you see who the participants are because that's going to be a hell of a time. But stay tuned for that. That's going to be quite fun. And now, if you'll give me 1 second, I'm going to grab some water. And then I'm going to say what I want to say about what everyone wants me to say. So, ThanksGrappling, as we were getting ready to break down this card, Josh Geddon decided that it was his time to make his statement, his retaliatory attack against CIW by interrupting our big show and putting on a match and cutting a promo. And, I've had quite a few days, I've had at least 24 hours to think about what he said. And, I'm not going to refute every point that he made, but I think it's quite ironic that he says that the problems of CIW are inward, yet he's the man who can't admit his faults. He has to be the man who says, I'm innocent here. I haven't done anything wrong. You suck because you suck, not because of what I suck. Let me tell you something, Josh, again. Never once did I say that hiring Jack Six wasn't my fault. And if you recall, a big part of what my falling out with Jack Six was that TAW decided to stick its nose where it didn't belong and try to take CIW's championship back in 2015. Lest we forget, or is our memory so vague and blurry because you've been wasting so much time doing an SNL skit level promo that you've forgotten the things you've done in your past? I've never shied away from my past, Josh, again. I've never shied away from the fact that hiring Jack Six was a bad idea. I never shied away from the fact that I had to fire a bunch of people like that was something I wanted to do. And yeah, you could hold that against me if you want, but I defy you to call every member of your roster and listen to their voices. You tell them you can't provide food for their table after making promises that you begged the world to deliver on, that you knew you could deliver on, but were screwed out of being delivered on because of people like you. And now I'm the bad guy because I have technology break right as I'm about to do a major show. I'm honest with it about the fans, and then you're going to really hold that plus my father's death for hiatuses against me? The arrogance you have to claim that I'm the one at fault for things that I had no control of, but you claim to be the one who had nothing to do with that because you've been in control this whole time, haven't you? I've seen what TAW is about, Josh, again. I understand what your frustrations are, but I will never, ever be a man to hide away from when he fucks up. And I've made my mistakes. There's no debate about it. But the fact that I own up to those mistakes, the fact that I've had to live with those mistakes for every single day that I couldn't run CIW while you continued to run TAW and used me to continue to run TAW and used CIW to continue to run TAW. And yet you sit there cutting a half-inspired promo, sounding as half-enthused as something somebody else wrote, will suffer and succotash Roman Reigns. Maybe you ought to come up with some better words. And yeah, it's a lot of fun to steal somebody else's lines like AEW does. And it's real fun to pretend like you know how to cut a promo, but now you get to learn from the master. Because were it not for me giving you the promos to set off your feuds, nobody would be talking about TAW right now. Nobody would be talking about this feud. Nobody would be amazed at the fact that TAW responded. So mark my words, Josh, again. Michael Corleone and I are glad that you finally struck back because now we can finally begin. We've been waiting. We've been begging, and now you say that you have to get through to me. Now I'm thankful because I think I've started to get through to you. And that means more fun for all of us. We'll see you next time, CIW. Don't forget, we've just started.